Welcome to Curious Goldfish, a podcast community where music and curiosity come together through interesting conversations with the music makers of our world. I'm your host, Jason English. You can find Curious Goldfish in all the major podcast and social media platforms, and of course, we have all of our content on our website, curiousgoldfish.com. Dean, really appreciate your time on a Sunday.
Thanks for having me, Jason.
Yeah, man, it's awesome to meet you. So I interviewed a couple musicians earlier this year. First, Matt Kilo, when I met him down at the 38th Festival in Florida in January, and then I met this guy Jacob Furr in Fort Worth. You know both of them.
Yeah, Jacob Furr and Matt Kilo are both good buddies of mine. Yeah,
that's cool.
Both great songwriters.
Yeah. So I was coming to Americana Fest, and I was going to be in Nashville for a couple of days, and I hit Matt up because he's here, and it's like, who should I try to talk to? And I think you were the first name he gave me. So it's awesome.
Well, thanks, Matt. Thanks, Jacob.
Really good guys. So you're here in Nashville, kind of doing the music thing. I've got a lot of questions because I talked to a fair number of people that there are varying levels of quote unquote success, and that you could measure that with number of albums or number of streams or whatever that is. But, a lot of people here in Nashville are doing all sorts of things to get known, to better their craft, all that stuff. And how long have you been here trying to do that?
Well, I just want to say I do have a long-term goal, and I started with a very short-term goal, which was I was going to hitchhike to Nashville and just become the next Bob Dylan and end of story. But things don't always go that way. And my long-term goal is I'll just give you a quick story. I used to work in stage production for a local company.
Cool. Okay.
And we set up stages for like Beyonce in Nissan Stadium or Bridgestone Arena. And I would look at all the sections. They've got all these sections in the stadium and arenas, and each section had like 100 people, like 100 seats.
Sure.
And I would just look at this stadium full of like 100 of these sections, and I just thought to myself, like, if I could just fill one of those sections every night for the rest of my life, I would be all set. I'd be happy just having like 100 to 500 people a night seeing my show. And
sure.
that would be like, that would pay for all my expenses, that would let me tour, that would let me make records and just do whatever I want and have all the freedom I could ever possibly desire.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like, to give you an idea, when you said the word goals.
Mm-hmm.
But to answer your question, I've been here for 4 years.
It's all good. We got there eventually. That's good. All right. So 4 years. Did you meet your wife here?
No, I met her on a street in San Francisco while I was busking. She threw a buck into my tip jar 10 years ago, and I didn't even notice her because people are walking by throwing dollars into the tip jar, but the next night I went to an open mic and sat at the bar, and she was sitting right there at the bar, and she's like, "Hey, I gave you $1," and I was like, "Oh, thanks," and that's how we met.
That's a great story. I wonder what song you were playing when she tipped you.
She told me I was singing "The City of New Orleans," written by Steve Goodman, made famous by Earle Guthrie.
And that's cool that you remember the song. All right.
Yeah, she told me she remembered it.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. And she's a songwriter too, right?
She's a songwriter, yeah. She's a really great, clever songwriter. Writes all kinds of subjects, but particularly about heartache and the dump.
How is that? Do you guys ever kind of like share notes or bounce ideas off each other? Or?
She's my number one biggest. She's the person I go when I have a song written. She's the person I go to and say, "Is this good? Is this any good?"
Yeah.
And she will give me feedback. She'll say, "Yep, that's a keeper," or "You could do better." And usually, like, all her feedback is pretty much all I need for knowing where I need to go in the song.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
She's very helpful in that.
So 4 years here in Nashville. It sounds like you're from New England area. Since a little bit of New England.
To get that lobster.
A little bit of New England. What's your? How'd you get to Nashville, and what was that journey like?
The first time I came to Nashville, I grew up in New Jersey, And the first time I came to Nashville, I recently graduated high school, and I hitchhiked here from New Jersey. Kind of just gave up everything except my guitar and the clothes on my back and went to Nashville.
Jeez.
Like I told you, because I was a kid, I was 18 years old. I thought like, oh, I'm just going to go here, hitchhike here, and everyone's going to be like, wow, you hitchhiked to Nashville? You know, like, wow, that's so cool. Like you've got 2 songs? Like, cool, wow, like let me give you a record contract.
Yeah.
And I got to Nashville and realized every homeless person hitchhiked here from somewhere, and they've got a guitar and they've got a whole back catalog of decent songs. Yeah. And so I stayed here for 2 weeks, and then I moved on, and that's when I went to the West Coast and settled in San Fran. And it wasn't until 10 years later, after living in Texas, New Hampshire, New Mexico, I finally moved to Nashville in 2020.
Okay. It's not that long ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, only 3.5 years.
And you met your wife in San Francisco.
Yep.
So that worked
Yeah,
out.
she's from New Hampshire. She's the New Englander. I'm the New Jersey kid.
You've lived in a few different places. I mean, do you think you need to be in Nashville to sort of do what you want to do?
I don't think you need to be in Nashville, but I think it helps. I think this is the best place for me right now.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I'm not like a country mainstream country type of musician, I still think Nashville's the best place for me as a songwriter, because everybody comes through here, and it's tough, but it's also inspiring, and there's a lot of opportunity. You know,
Yeah.
it's the place to be, I think.
Yeah. So the few people I've talked to this weekend at Americana Fest, some of them live here, and they talk about there's like the downtown Broadway Nashville, and then there's kind of everywhere else, and they've told me that people tend to avoid Broadway because it's tourists and it's craziness. But you found a really consistent sort of gig there at Eric Church's place.
Yeah, at Chiefs, owned by Eric Church. He when Chiefs was opening,
Mm-hmm.
The booking agent reached out to me and wanted to know if he said he heard my songs and he really enjoyed the songs, and he specifically wanted me to play original songs.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I said, "Excuse me, you're on Broadway, right?" Like,
That's right.
And you want me to play original songs on Broadway? I'm like, is this like a scam? Like,
Right.
And he's like, no, that's just what Eric Church wants to do. He wants to give back to the local songwriters and provide an opportunity in a space where songwriters could present their original songs on Broadway, which is something that not many places out there have. So, I got that opportunity, and I'm playing there every Wednesday and Sunday night.
Okay.
Playing there tonight, and it's been great so far. I'm really grateful for that gig.
Yeah, I mean, what's the feedback been? Have you met anybody from that gig that has led to other opportunities for you?
Yeah, people come see me play, and they go back to their home state, and then they'll say, "Oh, you should come out to my little town, and there's a perfect venue or bar
Sure.
or something for you." And so I've been making connections that way, and so far it's been great. Yeah, I've been doing it for
Okay.
6 months now.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
That's really good. So when we got connected, you happened to be this summer. You happened to be over in Ireland, and it sounds like you've been there off and on a couple times. How did that all start?
It's been this past August was my 3rd time coming back to Ireland, and it was my first real tour. I played 6 shows in 12 days and did a lot of busking as well. The first time I came to Ireland, it was 2019, and I just showed up with my guitar. I just had this calling to Ireland. I just really wanted to go there. A lot of poets came from Ireland, and they have a rich storytelling history, and a lot of American artists that I admire, they got their start in Ireland. So I thought I should really try to make a point to go there, and I went there, and I just started busking and meeting local musicians, and now I've built up some connections out there, and now I try to go back there every year.
Yeah. What connection do you feel with the Irish people? Like, what do you think it is?
Guinness. Yeah, I like Guinness.
Yeah.
The real stuff.
Yeah.
Out there. In Ireland, it's just so refreshing for me as an American to be in Ireland, because they play things, they play differently there. I mentioned that they have a certain lilt to their like strumming style and singing style that you don't get in American folk music or country music, and just so it's just really refreshing to hear a different way of playing, and they also just love music there. Like every show I've played in Ireland, I would finish my set, and then the people were like, "Don't stop," and they just kept singing. If I stopped playing music, they just started like singing a cappella to each other.
Oh, cool.
In the street until the bar closed, and then they moved to the street, and like we're out there at 2-3 a.m. just singing old Irish rebel songs, and at 3 a.m. on the street. And it was like that every night, like even a weekday night. I don't know how they have jobs.
Yeah,
they just.
That's good. That's a good question. So you mentioned Irish rebel songs. There, I've said this a couple of times because I've interviewed a couple of people from Ireland or that have spent time there. But there is this tension to their music and like struggle. It's like in the beats. It's in the strumming. It's in the lyrics. Like, do you feel that when you're over there?
Yeah, it's totally sewn into their culture, their history with England, and the rebellion in the early 20th century, and becoming an independent country.
Yeah,
it's very much a part of who they are as a people.
Do you have hopes to go to England and Greater Europe?
Yes. I just met some Scandinavian artists here yesterday at another showcase, and was talking to them about playing in Norway, and which I'd really love to go out there, and all of Europe. I just love Europe. I feel strongly about Europe. My parents are Ukrainian. I was born in Ukraine.
No way, really?
And I still speak the language. I speak Russian, actually. And just anytime I'm out there, it feels like a little slice of some old subconscious home.
Yeah. Has the recent developments with the conflict and all the military stuff, has that influenced you as a person or your songwriting in any way? Have you thought about that much, or not really?
It hasn't. I can't say it's influenced my songwriting. I'm not writing songs about, Slava, Ukraine, and things like that. But I maybe I would like to.
Yeah.
It sucks because you feel very helpless. Watching a small country try to get eaten up by a larger authoritarian state, and yeah, it's kind of sucks to feel like there's not much I could do about that.
Yeah.
And I have family there too. And
well, you never know. Like, music is crazy, right? Like, in terms of what it can do to inspire people, encourage people, and everything. So, like, you never know, And it could be your songs, it could be someone else's songs. But yeah, I didn't realize you're from the Ukraine, so that's cool. Yeah. But you have a new album, I think, this year, right?
That's right. And in June.
In June, Red Oak Hill, right?
Red Oak Hill. Yep.
Yeah. How many songs are on that?
4 songs.
4 songs. Okay. Where did does it have a theme to it that is sort of a collection of the songs, or what inspired that?
It's kind of a transition album for me. I'm working on a full length right now, and I just wanted to get an EP out there. Oh, nice. So I took a few of my recent unrecorded songs that I've written and put them in an EP, and just kind of gave them the Nashville treatment. And I'm really happy with how they came out. And yeah, it's called Red Oak Hill because that's the name of the street I lived on in New Hampshire. Okay. And the song Red Oak Hill is about driving from New Jersey to New Hampshire, and yeah, that's.
What's the timing of the new album?
No timing yet. I'm going to record it this year.
Okay.
Probably start to release it sometime in the winter or spring.
Will that be your first full-length one, or do you have another one?
First full-length.
So where are you at today as an artist, do you think, and where do you want to be?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, where I want to be, I would say, is like just filling those squares, those like 200 or 500 people a night. That would be my dream. Kind of like what Justin Townes Earle had going. You know that artist?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Justin, he passed away, unfortunately, in 2020. But he's one of my biggest heroes, probably in terms of contemporaries, he's my biggest hero. Him and Jason Isbell. And so I would like to kind of do what Justin was doing in his touring style, the size clubs that he was playing and the following that he had. I admired what he had going, and so that's kind of where I see myself.
Yeah.
If it goes any further than that, I would just be happy. But just being able to make a living and making my own albums and having a management, that would be that's where I want to
that's
get
awesome.
to.
Do you do the music thing full time now, or do you
Yeah.
have like a day job or something that you're also managing?
Since I started Chiefs, it's been full time.
Okay, cool.
Thanks to that gig, I've been able to stop
Nice.
working in warehouses and Ubering and
Right.
doing little odd jobs.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I have so much respect for people like you. You know, it's just the grind, right?
we're crazy.
Well, I mean, you're passionate, right?
passionate. That's another word.
Yeah.
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 But you do have enough time around the music to I think do a little beekeeping. Is that right?
Oh,
Or-
right. Yeah. I'm a beekeeper. I just started my business this year. It's called Dean's Tennessee Honey.
Okay.
You could find it online if you Google Dean's Tennessee Honey.
How'd you get into that?
So I live on a acre and a half now, and so I had like a little vegetable garden, and I suck at growing vegetables, but I enjoy it, and I thought it would be great to have 1 or 2 hives to pollinate the flowers and the vegetables and fruits that we've got, and I got started with 2 hives last spring, and just became obsessed with bees. I started watching them and just learning about them, and the way they function as an animal, as a unit, is just incredibly fascinating. How nature works, and just the honeybee is just such an interesting creature. Like how they know where to go. Like how does one bee find a field of flowers and come back and tell all the other bees like, hey, there's a field of flowers like 2.5 miles in that direction, and they follow like the position of the sun, and they do like a little dance. Anyway, I could talk, like
No,
I
it's
said,
cool,
I could
yeah.
just like turn this conversation into a beekeeping podcast. Right
Yeah,
now.
no, it's cool.
But yeah, I'm a beekeeper. I started selling honey this year.
Okay, that's awesome. Not to get into like spirituality and religion and things like that, but it's things like the bee, and I'll get to like an anecdote in a second. That kind of makes you want, kind of question the whole idea of people think that we came from like a pool of goo, like a random event, because the bee is a great example of just the preciseness of nature and just how incredibly intricate it is, and all the things that you just described. It's like, okay, that's just a bee. How is that a random? How did that be? How'd that become?
Great opportunity for puns. As
Yeah,
well.
exactly. But yeah, do you ever think about that?
About like the history of bees.
The bigger question of, is there a designer out there? Because if the bee is so cool, everything around it is just as cool, right?
Right. The bee is just one part of the fabric of our environment, and the honeybee is actually a great barometer for the health of any given environment. If you see a place with a healthy bee population, pollinator population, it usually means that the vegetation is healthy as well, which means that the larger herbivore like population is healthy as well. And so they're a very important little piece in the cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm dating someone, and she before I met her, she had all these health issues. Couldn't figure out what it was. Tried drugs and surgery and all these things. She had just back issues and all this stuff, but it felt like she had the flu, like permanent flu for a year or two or whatever. And she went to somebody, and they suggested bee therapy, like bee venom therapy.
Being stung.
Yeah, and so she did it, and I forget all the numbers, but I think over the course of the time where she basically stung herself with real bees, and her family member stung herself with real bees, it was like over 8,500 stings, and she healed.
Does she continue to do it?
No, she's done. Yeah, she's done. So again, I don't know the exact time frame because it was before I met her, but just the fact that like one, she was brave enough to kind of try that, and two, the fact that like the bees, they served a purpose, and it cured whatever the drugs, whatever the human, man-made solutions couldn't do, which I thought was, it's incredible.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
I've heard of that, but I've never met anyone who personally did that. That's really cool.
Yeah, so cool. So Dean's Tennessee Honey, is that what it's called?
Yep.
All right.
I just won an award for best tasting honey in Sumner County.
Oh, jeez. So that's a real thing. Can you get it online?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
Yeah. All right.
Just local.
And you're, where do you sell it here locally?
I'm working on building a little farm stand for my driveway.
Okay.
To start selling it to passing traffic and word of mouth. I have a lot of friends who love honey and want to support local beekeepers. So far this year I made 60 pounds, 60 jars, 1 pound jars, and sold out within a week. So I think my goal is to just sell, a few hundred jars a year to kind of add to what I do as a musician. And
diversify.
Yeah.
That's good. All right. Well, just in terms of the new album moving forward and everything, do you have, are you able to tour or go do shows kind of as they come up?
Yeah. I actually just went on tour with a friend of mine playing for his band. I play guitar for my friend Jake Newman and the Jaybirds.
Oh, cool.
And we just went on tour to Wisconsin and Michigan, and that was great. And I usually tour out to different parts of the country every year. Like I try to do a Texas tour and a New England tour. And so, it's a lot of work booking a tour. Just emails and stuff, but it's doable. I'm hoping to find some kind of management to take the load off a little bit.
All right. You'll have to come down to Atlanta, do a Southeast tour.
I would love to.
Yeah. We got some good things going on there. All right, cool. So the spirit of this podcast is about positivity, curiosity. Is inspired by Ted Lasso. Did you watch that show at all?
Ted Lasso.
Yeah, the soccer. If you like Ireland and Europe, you'd love it because it's based in England. It's all about a American football coach that goes and coaches soccer in London. But curiosity is a big theme. And so I just wanted to ask you, because I ask everybody, it's always interesting to hear what everybody's kind of thinking about, but what are you most curious about today?
What am I most curious about? Kind of just finding the next song, trying to find, what is inside of me that wants to come out in song, and try to mix that with what the world wants to hear. Like what kind of song is right for this time and place. That's usually what I'm curious about. In my professional life, curious. What else can I be curious about? There's so many things I'm curious about. I could tell carpentry.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out how to install a window in a brick building. That's my latest curiosity right now.
Yeah. the list to figure out. All right. Well, similarly, I talked to a guy actually from New England yesterday, Cape Cod, Greg Loftus, incredible musician, and he's a woodworker, so he builds furniture and that's his version of the bees. I think he's farther along because he's got a whole business, but it's pretty cool. Like you guys are able to do what you do and put so much into the music, but are able to be creative in other ways. Yeah.
I also like carpentry. It's a great way to be creative.
Yeah.
Build stuff.
All right. Well, cool. I appreciate your time. I'd love to hear some music, if you don't mind.
Yeah. Let me grab my guitar and play a tune for you.
All right. Thanks, Dean.
This is Dean Harlem, and this is a song I wrote called Rock Bottom. It's about kind of the life of a musician. I'm running on empty, I'm nearly broke. But like my daddy said, it's the life you chose. I'll never settle, I won't give in. I'm gonna climb my way up to my feet again. Spent my last $20 on a tank of gas. I got a car full of speakers and guitars packed. At the show they paid me in free beer. Now I'm all alone standing here. I'm gonna find a way out of this hole. I've done it now a dozen times or more. The hard times don't kill you, they just tear down your soul. Rock bottom, come on, let's go. My parents were born in a foreign land. When they came here, had to start again. I left them when I turned 18. Now I'm out here chasing their dream. I'm gonna find a way out of this hole. I've done it now a dozen times or more. The hard times don't kill you, they just tear down your soul. Rock bottom, come on, let's go. I may be on the losing side, and I'll be fighting my whole life. But if there's one thing I believe, it's that someday my song will set me free. I'm gonna find a way out of this hole. I've done it now a dozen times or more. The hard times don't kill you, they just tear down your soul. Rock bottom, come on, let's go. The hard times don't kill you, they just tear down your soul. Rock bottom, come on, let's go. Rock bottom, come on, let's go.